Yeah, so in America, statistically, 70% of black people do not know how to swim. And if the parent, if a,
So to be clear, y'all, that's 7070.
yeah, 7-0. And so, and then also even more daunting is that if the parent does not know how to swim, there's only a 13% chance that their child will learn how to swim. And
One, two, three, four.
Hello, Nate.
hello, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I want to get us started because I have so much to talk about. I was watching your show just now. So, for everyone, Nate is the host, creator, and executive producer of Worldwide Nate. You can find it on Wondrium, and they have a free 14-day trial. So, check it out. But Nate, so I am from West Africa. I grew up in Sierra Leone and I moved to the US for university. And I loved that you found out via Ancestry that you're also West African. You found out that you're Cameroonian while you were in Cameroon.
Yeah, that was exciting.
That's so, so cool. And then, so Nate's latest installment of his show had him travel to West Africa, folks. So he went to Senegal, Ghana, and Cameroon. And I'd love to learn more about what that was like for you, just finding out about your ancestry while you were in Cameroon.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting because I had took the test before we had left for the production, and I didn't
Right.
know exactly when I would get it because they had put it on a rush. So, and then you don't know where you're gonna be, where you're gonna come from. So, it was like perfect timing to where probably like 4 weeks into the trip, that's when we were in Cameroon. Well, about three and a half weeks in, and then to get the news, and then to find out that I'm from the Balimike tribe in Cameroon, which is pretty awesome. And then one of the girls I interviewed a few days prior, she's from Balimike, and then the our local fixer on my crew, he's from Balimike tribe,
My
and
goodness.
so it was awesome. And then now when I meet Cameroonians, then they ask, "Well, what region are you from?" And I'm like, I don't know,
Right.
I don't know all that. I'm just excited to know the tribe name, but I don't think the records will get that granular to know
No.
exactly what part.
But it makes sense too, because these tribes have been nomading. And like you found out too, like after the colonial period is when all these countries came to be and stated. But I feel like
Right.
that is pretty cool that you got to even identify the group of folks from your maternal DNA. So, what can you tell us about the Balimike people? Like, what is the culture?
Well, the culture is that they are the entrepreneurs, the business people, the
Oh, sounds
hustlers, and
about
I'm like,
right.
oh,
It's my people.
who who would have thunk it?
Oh, I love
Yeah, so
that.
that's cool to know that that's the common, denominator, the common trait across the tribes. I'm like, that is me to my core. So that was pretty awesome to reinforce what the test had
Yeah.
revealed. Is like, the cultural aspect, also aligns with who I am. So that was pretty awesome. Um, I still like have to go back and like, on
Mm.
a Balimike tribe like focus trip because I was still in production mode, so I didn't get a
Yeah.
chance to like dive further deeper into the aspects of the tribe locally. So that would be a return trip focus right there.
Yeah. What a wonderful gift. Like, I'm so curious, how does it feel for you knowing this? Did you feel like anything changed just for the experience for other African Americans who might not have done it yet?
Yeah, it reinforces the confidence I already had in myself, but then it's just that identifier when I do meet people that are from the continent, or even when I just meet Cameroonians, it's like, oh, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm Cameroonian as well, and that gives a sense of like identity and knowing, knowledge of self. I never subscribed to that. Black people life started with slavery. I always knew that there's this beautiful, wonderful place called Africa where we come from, and so to be able to identify, pinpoint, like this is exactly where. I remember when I first went to South Africa. That was my first country. It was like, oh wow, I wonder if my ancestors are from South
Yeah.
Africa, which was like, it's an exciting, you know, um, idea to fantasize about. but then to actually know, okay, at least, to know like on this side of my family or myself that, I'm Cameroonian, that's pretty exciting to like lock in and know that that's who I am. And then, even when I see like images of Cameroonians or the flag, I'm like, okay, that's me right there.
Totally. I feel like it's so important to know who you are to understand also where you're going. It's such a beautiful
Exactly.
thing. In Sierra Leone, where I'm from, so Sierra Leone, the capital city is called Freetown because it's where the slaves from the US that returned came and they were able to be free. And Sierra Leone is known as a country that accepted folks from all over West Africa, Africa, the Caribbean, etc. And we hold that with a lot of pride. And we also have lots of African Americans coming back to discover their ancestry. And I think it's such a meaningful thing. So I'm glad you got to do it and want to encourage other folks listening to do it as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's amazing. Our West African relative now. And Nate, the other thing I love about your show is that you really emphasize the connection with the people and the culture, which I love saying that we Africans have swag, something we Africans got, and I love seeing that come through in your show. You meet a lot of the entrepreneurs who are really promoting the local economy and really proud in what they do. And I would say also I'm a big travel fan. And one of my favorite things is being able to connect with other people and cultures and just understanding and learning from one another and one another's stories. I'm curious how you have found what success you've found in connecting with other people in your travels and their cultures.
Well, that's what pushes me on all my travels. The world is I'm like a kid in the candy store because
Yeah.
I love just discovering the differences of all these different tribes and personalities and people. And it's like I have a thirst for something new. And so
Yeah.
every person I meet is an opportunity to get a new experience. So I always cherish every encounter with people and give a listening ear and I'm always curious too, to understand people's stories or anything people, talk about, or I remember I was in South Africa with the Zulus, and then we went to like a little area where they had different stalls where they were selling food, and then I was eating the food, and I'm like, so this is like a Zulu tradition? Y'all been doing this for thousands of years? He was like, yeah, and I'm like, this is so cool, like that they like this is just something that this is what they've been doing since the beginning of time, or since it came into the culture, and to be able to participate in that and experience it, and then for them to just nonchalantly just say, yeah, this is what we do. And I'm like, wow, I'm experiencing some Zulu culture. Or even in West Africa with the Twi people and
Mhm.
people that speak Twi
In Ghana.
in
I still
Ghana.
can't say that. You're doing a great job, Twee, I think, but
Yeah.
I know I'm missing it somehow.
Yeah, it took a while. It took a while, but just like, and then the with the Ashanti people and the
Mhm.
drums and just seeing, like, even with our local crew,
Yeah.
we had people that met for the first time, working together, and just seeing how they just like naturally connected, but within just that culture. So it's similar to like when I went to Tennessee State University and met all these people from across the United States, and we connected and then was like curious and entertained by our geographical differences. But it was like the similar experience, but just for Africans in Ghana, which was quite fascinating. So it's
Totally.
I just love meeting new people and learning new things. Everybody is an opportunity to learn to gain some type of wisdom and insight. So I'm always a sponge, and Africa has billions of people, so it's a whole adventure on that continent across 54 countries.
Absolutely. Think building on that, one of my favorite things to do is also meet people that are, for instance, my age and just learning about their journeys and seeing that while we may have different lives, our values are often so, so similar. Like we all care about our family and maybe something we're working toward that we're passionate about. And we may all value delicious food or whatever activity we're interested. And it's such a beautiful way to bring people together. And I think just build such compassion.
Yeah, it is. It's a human connecting,
Mhm.
connecting aspect, a human connector. Because sometimes you could be in those different countries and you don't speak the same language, but just
Right.
even nonverbal gestures or movement or just signs,
Mhm.
connect you to people. And it's fascinating to experience. And then I've definitely connected with people. And then with the help of Google Translate, we
Yeah.
always an application
Me
away from
too.
connecting even further.
Me too. And even like a small thing like you attempting to pronounce tree correctly and just attempting to relate to the folks in their own language. Folks really appreciate things like that. The other thing about you, Nate, is you love adventure. And I'm so curious, where did this adventure bug come from? You mentioned there was a mentor who challenged you to travel, but tell us more about that.
Yeah, so when I was at Tennessee State University, Dr. Galen Hull, he wrote his autobiography that documented his travels to over 80 countries. And he gave me a copy, he signed it, he said, I challenge you to see more countries than me and become an entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, I could do this because growing up, my entire family, well, not the entire, but a number of members of my family, including my mother, would travel around
I
the
want to talk
world
about
on
your
going missionary
mom.
trips.
She's a
Yeah.
74-year-old badass woman traveling with you all over the place. So I definitely want to talk about her.
Yeah. Yeah. She's 76 now, but
Oh
yeah,
my
she's still,
gosh. She
yeah.
went with you to Antarctica just now.
Right. We did in February. We hit our seventh continent together.
Amazing. Okay, so tell
Yeah. So
me,
Dr.
keep.
Hull, he challenged me. And I was like, oh, I could do this because my mother had traveled around the world going on missionary trips growing up with our
Mm,
church. I had a few cousins that played basketball overseas. My uncle always would tell stories when he played in Lyon, France at family gatherings. And then I have a
wow.
cousin who lives in Macau right now. He's been living overseas, I mean, since he graduated college, and he's about 10 years older than me. And just a few other family members always traveling. So and it being traveling international wasn't far fetched for me. It was just something I put into the bucket that's what adults do. And then when he challenged me, I was like, "Oh, I'm an adult. I can do this." And then I went off traveling, and then just me having an adventurous spirit and being fearless. The adventure travel sector of travel, like that's what I gravitated towards. And so I can go to these places and do all these adventurous and crazy things and these different landscapes and foreign lands that it's so different than the United States. I mean, like I said, it's a new experience. Sign me up.
Yeah.
And so the adventure travel component of life is something that it satisfies me. It's my calling. It's something I just love. So that's where the adventure travel had come from.
And it's amazing that you get to do what you love and getting to explore the world and learn while you're at it. Tell us about this Antarctica adventure with your mom.
Yeah, we went to the White Continent,
The White Continent?
way down
I
below. Yeah,
want to go to
so
Antarctica very much, so I'm dying to hear more.
oh, it's been on my to-do list forever. And then when as I started, I travel with my mother. I call it bucket list with
I love
mom.
that. I love that. I saw.
Yeah, so we've been to numerous countries around the world, and then to go to Antarctica is like the icing on the cake is like the biggest adventure. And so she was excited to go. So I asked her if she wanted to go, and she was excited to go.
Yeah.
And then she revealed to me that when she was a kid, her aunt, my great aunt, was living with them at the time, and she worked at a doctor's office and would bring home National Geographic magazines. And
Yeah.
then one of them she read about. That's what she discovered Antarctica through a National Geographic magazine. And I'm like, wow, like this is something that she probably dreamt about as a little girl, and then now like she's I can take her to Antarctica. So that was pretty cool to be able to provide like had that full circle moment for my mother. Then I had no idea that that was even on her radar. And then sometimes you like think of things and then you like, oh, that's far fetched, and you just put it
Hmm.
off, and then it's almost like dusting off an old book, and it's like and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're going to Antarctica. And it was an amazing trip. So when you what we did is we flew there from
And it's
Punta
a long
Arenas,
flight,
Chile.
right?
Well, it's a journey. So you
Right. It's a
fly. We
long
flew to
journey.
Santiago, Chile. So that's an overnight 9-hour flight, I think, from Houston. And then we spent a few nights there, and then we flew down to Punta Arenas, which is like a 2.5-hour flight to the
Mm.
bottom of Chile. We stayed the night there, and then we flew to the Fry Station. It's a Chilean research station on the Fry Island, and then we landed there, and then we boarded our boat via Zodiac. We
Mm-hmm.
got to the beach and then the shore, and then we got on the Zodiac, and it took us to the ship, and we boarded the ship. And for the
Wow.
next 5 nights, we slept on this ship and sailed around the Antarctica Peninsula.
Wow. Spectacular. How much does it cost these days to go to Antarctica?
Well, the prices vary. So we did a fly-in sale. So since we flew to Antarctica, we eliminated the two-day crew one-way voyage across the Drake Passage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did the ship, the voyage, you can get a cheaper price, like under 10,000, maybe
Okay.
like between $7,000 to $10,000. But then we did the flying sail, so I think that trip that was like probably like at least 15 and a half, 16,000 per person, because there's that flight, and then you save
Yeah.
time. So the sailing trips, they range from 10 to 14 days, and our trip was done in 8 days.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. All right. So it's definitely something we need to save for, but worth it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth it, because I saw another influencer. She had made a post and she said that there's like 8 billion people on the planet, and
Yeah.
then that season only 100,000 people visited Antarctica. So she
Mm-hmm.
was, including, we were part of the point 0.0025
It's wild.
something
Wow.
percentage of people to visit Antarctica. So it's definitely worth it. You'll be in a class
A very
that
elite group of
a very
people.
elite group of people that, like if you go into a room and meet 10 other people that said they went to Antarctica, I'll be like, this is like winning the lotto.
Right, right. And then what do you get to do? You travel, I'm sure like you learn about like climate, things like that. What else?
Well, there's more. You have two landings. So in the morning, you'll do a landing, and go So the first landing, we went to an island, and then we explored the island, like seeing the penguins, the wildlife. Look, then some people had the opportunity to do a snowshoe hike to a higher elevation. And
Mm,
then we
wow.
spent like an hour and a half on that island, and then you come back to the boat, and then you have lunch, and you sail to a different island or a different location, because it's all weather dependent. So they have
Mm,
probably like a list of places where we could potentially do an excursion, and then based on the weather, that will like let the crew know if it's safe enough for us to go and do the landing. So we had amazing weather where everything that they had
hmm.
planned happened. and
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 what
so
time
and
of
then
year was that for the amazing weather?
this was February, but it,
Right.
it could be, our week could be great, and then the week before
Mm,
it could be terrible. So it's just so
you're just
it's
lucky.
very volatile. It's very volatile down there, and that's why they say they continually to emphasize this is the plan, but it's Antarctica, so we can't make any promises. So
Wait, how
we gotta.
cold was it, Nathan?
Well, in February, toward like our winter is their summer, so it
Okay.
was it was like 35 degrees
Okay. So not
Fahrenheit.
right, very right. But not as
Yeah.
like horrible as I would imagine
No,
in the
no, because we
summer in
had
their
these
summer.
big Canada Goose jackets, and we were fine. But if
Yeah.
you had like a Parker and like another fleece under it, just to have some layers, you would have been fine. Or like some guys that were from Minnesota, they were walking around with like their T-shirt on some landings. So so but it was nice, especially when the sun is out.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, I even did the polar plunge where I jumped into the
What?
Arctic water with just my Kabata swim trunks on.
Right, amazing. And how many black owned, first of all, you're the only black owned surf brand. And then let alone how many surf brands slash swimwear period can say they've been in Antarctica.
Right, exactly. It's elite class. You gotta be swimming the blue ocean. The red oceans are too bloody, but I like the blue peaceful oceans.
I love it. So my husband and I, we just came back from Norway and we did a bunch of hiking and cold plunging, and it was cold. I feel like one of the fjords we could only last like a minute and a half tops. How cold was your cold plunge in Antarctica? How long did you last?
I was in there a few seconds because the water temperature they said it was like 35 degrees, and that's pretty cold. And
Right.
I surf in a wetsuit when it's 55 degrees, but that 35, I was in and out. And then when you come out, they give you a shot of vodka to warm you up.
Beautiful. Amazing. Is that one of your top adventure moments you've had? Do you have others that you would share with us?
Yeah, that's the top adventure. Another one is hiking to the top of the Nyiragongo volcano in the Virunga National Forest in Congo, in the Democratic
Wow.
Republic of Congo. So it was a 5 hour hike to the top of this volcano, and then we had dinner at the top of the volcano. The porter
Wow.
cooked food, and they had these permanent cabins. So we spent the night, and then woke up. He cooked breakfast, and then I was like drinking a cup of coffee, looking at a lava lake exploding, in the crater of the at the
Yeah.
top. So yeah, I had
That is very brave.
always joke and say I had my dinner at the top of the Nyiragongo volcano is more romantic than a dinner at the top of the Tour de Eiffel.
Exactly. No, the Tour de Eiffel is for definitely a tourist location. I wouldn't say it's so romantic. That is very very cool. So we know you love traveling adventurously, and you mentioned fear potentially being something that could stop folks from traveling. So I wanted to get your thoughts as a travel blogger. You have this award-winning show on travel, etc. What would you say to folks who may feel a bit worried about traveling and exploring? How would you have them approach it?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, the simple answer is you have to get up and go, because life is short. And so it's like, do you want to sit in your living room, or you want to go and have a new experience? And then especially for my when people ask me, as far as the fear aspect, I let them know I'm from the south side of Chicago. And I mean, I'm
Right.
like, if I could make it through Chicago, I can go anywhere in the world. And that's my attitude is, where I stay fearless, is that I've been prepared to see the signs and indicators, and I've been able to have like a very like peaceful travel career. I mean,
Hmm.
not to say that things don't happen, but I've been fortunate enough to where I don't share the bad stories that I read on social media or travel blog pages, that some people had these bad encounters, etc. Not to say that it can't happen, but it's just that you just have to go and then figure it, go and experience it. And plus, as an American with our passport, you always have like that support. If you get into a sticky situation, you have, the force of the United States of America that will offer
Right.
support, especially if you haven't done anything wrong. If you know
Right.
if you haven't broken any laws, etc. You do have that support with the different embassies and consulates in most countries that first time travelers would want to travel to. A first time traveler isn't trying to go to, um, like the jungle of the Amazon.
Right. Right.
Most people are like gonna go to like more tourist places for the first through 10 times going out of the country before they, want to get into like more the quote
Yeah.
unquote more dangerous places. And I've been to places that are considered dangerous, but I didn't have any sense of fear while I was there, and I deliberately wanted to go just so I can, see what these places, see what the truth is, because the media
Hmm.
will always paint places in a negative light, and then you go and you're like, wait a minute, what's going? This place is nice.
Yeah, totally, 100%. I would say even as a coach, what I see with folks dealing with fear is it's caused by some things that we've encountered in the past and requires kind of rewiring our brains to create a new pathway. And the only way to rewire our brains is doing exactly what you said, which is get up and go. And there's ways to do that in a way that feels safe in for your situation. So what's the first step you can take? Is it bringing your friends along with you, going to a safer location and just trying something, seeing that, you know what, this actually wasn't that bad, and then taking the next step and the next step and the next step. And to your point, you learn so much and you grow so much, and it's always such a meaningful experience. So love that. Nate, I want to talk about another venture you're building. So, you're the founder of A Great Day in the Stoke, which I am excited for you to tell folks all about. But before we do that, I wanted you to set the context. So, A Great Day in the Stoke last year was the largest gathering of Black surfers. And you're having another event this year in Huntington Beach in September. But want to talk about the history of surfing and swimming actually among the Black community in the US. So, can you set that context for us, please?
Yeah. So in America, statistically, 70% of Black people do not know how to swim, and if the parent, if a
So, to be clear, y'all, that's 7070.
yeah, 7-0. And so, and then also even more daunting is that if the parent does not know how to swim, there's only a 13% chance that their child will learn how to swim. And then that 6 out of 10 black boys between the age of 11 and 12 will drown from lack of having from lack of being able to swim. And so, this is startling because I grew up in an all black middle class neighborhood and we all knew how to swim. We had a pool, we went swimming every day. So in my world, every black person knows how to swim. I took swimming lessons at Chicago State. Even in Lake Michigan, you would see black people on the south side all up and down the lake. And then the projects was behind my grandmother's house and all, and that pool was filled with kids swimming every summer. So it wasn't until I got to college that I started hearing the term black people don't know how to swim. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, of course black people know how to swim. And so after losing every single argument time after time, had to realize like, oh, this is true. And then
Mhm.
and then more recent years when I started doing the research on the statistics that I just shared, it's like, wow, this is pretty daunting. And so a great day in the Stoke is the purpose of it. It solves multiple purposes. I mean, it was an idea that came about from me attending paddle outs for like
Mhm.
so paddle outs is like a historical Hawaiian tradition where surfers will paddle out into the ocean and form a circle and in remembrance of a surfer that's passed away. So they'll bring flowers and throw it into the circle and they'll splash water up into the heavens in remembrance of them. And then so I
Mhm.
would attend these paddle outs, and then it would be the somber, sad, tone at the beginning, and people giving these speeches and super emotional. And then then after the paddle out, everybody would socialize, and then the tone would shift. But I just got tired of coming to these things in reaction to somebody getting killed by the police. And I was like, we just need the opportunity to just celebrate our existence and just show up and just be in the spirit of like, hey, I'm here and I love to surf and I want to see other black people. And then it was the pandemic. So a lot of people hadn't met each other or even just heard people's like how people, like just gave each other a hug or, heard somebody smile or laugh.
Mhm.
So it's like these simple things that we were taken away from us. We hadn't experienced those things in the surf community. So that's what a great day at the Stoke. That's like the number one problem is solving. And then also is that we want to have people see these images of black people surfing, which is a representation issue, and then also it changed the narrative of who and what a surfer looks like, and I also want it to be inspiring to where a little kid can say, "Oh, mom, I want to learn how to surf," and then the mother may say, "Oh, black people, you know how to swim," and then the kid can be like, "Oh, look, like look at a great day in the Stoke, it's black people surfing," and then it's like, "Oh, wow, well." I guess I was wrong. Like let's get you some swimming lessons so you can get to learning how to surf and we could, and I want to use this event to be an impact to change that statistic and reduce it by, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 percentage points over a period of time to where we can get more black people to be able to experience the water, whether it be surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, swimming, scuba diving, boogie boarding, kayaking, like all these different, water activities, even marine research, being marine biologists and that opens up a whole different career path and et cetera, because there's this relationship with the water and then we can eliminate this fear. And so that's what a great day in the Stoke will do too. And then lastly, we want to be able to like usher in the next black professional surf champion and more black competitive surfers. And so that's what our goal is as well by like creating the training days so we can help facilitate the elevation of the quality of the competitive surfers and be able to have the programming to where we can help subsidize the cost to where these kids can get the training that they need to become elite and then take it to the next level.
Love the mission. What would a little black child in New York City, for instance, who's not in California, that is interested in surfing, what path would you recommend their parent take to nurturing this interest for them?
Well, in New York, in Rockaway Beach, you can surf.
I know, I know.
So there is some surf on the East Coast. It may not be as good as California, but there wherever there's a coast, there is going to be some waves, and so then there are communities all over, whether it be these affinity groups that are black led groups that are focused on providing less swim lessons, or even
Mhm.
to surf lessons, and so there's a group of black surfers in Rockaway Beach. I forget the gentleman's name, but he has a black surf he has a surf shop in Rockaway Beach. So that'd be a good place to start in New York City. Even just getting involved with the lifeguards, like junior lifeguards as well, just to be able to have that relationship with the water,
Mhm.
and just knowing that you could have a career as a lifeguard. Lifeguards in California make six figures, and people
Wow.
don't realize that. Like, yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So I'm like, you lifeguards, like, yeah,
Like on the beach?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
lifeguards
But
make
that makes sense. You're saving
yeah,
lives. So it
lifeguards
makes
make
like
money.
that's good.
Yeah, you could definitely, as in the marine safety field, that you definitely have a career. It's not a minimum wage job. People are making six figures as lifeguards, and
Beautiful.
so just even
Beautiful.
educating
Well,
people on that financial benefit of it as well, especially if somebody loves the water, and it's not doesn't have to just be put into the box of a hobby, but it could be a
mhm.
definitely a career path.
What are any other career paths adjacent to the water and swimming? Like, obviously, you could be a professional swimmer, a professional surfer, which takes time and effort and dedication, all of that. Lifeguard, anything else I'm missing?
Their biology, like a marine biologist,
Right. Right.
concern, like ocean conservancy. They're like there's activists that are concerned about the
Hmm.
ocean, and because like the development along coastal lines, there's always that battle of
Hmm.
developers wanting to develop and create this sell high profit, high margin real estate, and then there's the battle of the people that want to conserve these ocean these coastal areas so they can be protected, so that if the environment can thrive because of rising sea levels and all this environmental impact to earth. So I
Yeah.
mean, there,
Beautiful.
there are and these is and there's probably more careers I'm just not aware of yet. Because the majority of earth is water, so I'm pretty sure there's
Yeah.
plenty of plenty of career paths out there.
As a water baby myself, I'm all about this and excited to inspire next future generations into the space as well. Nate, you are also the co-founder. We touched on this briefly of Cavada Swimwear, and I love that you founded this in your sister's name. Your sister passed away from triple negative breast cancer, and 10% of proceeds go toward breast cancer research, TNBC research. And I just bring this up briefly to mention you're a man of many projects, Nate, and I wanted to talk about and just get your insight on how, like, what are you finding effective in how you juggle all of this? So you have your TV show, you're doing A Great Day in the Stoke, you're doing Kavada. I'm sure you have family and other commitments. You're taking care of yourself. How do you do all of this?
Oh, well, the simple answer is I don't sleep.
You spend 28 hours in the 24-hour day.
Yeah, that's a simple thing. Just don't go to sleep. You'll be fine. You can do anything you want. But
But for other folks like thinking, right, of starting their own thing and like juggling a lot of things, what have you found that works for you that you can share with them?
yeah, well, fortunately, I don't tackle everything all at the same time, but there also is this crossover where they complement each other. So a Great Day in the Stoke is adjacent to Kabata swimwear, and then me traveling, I can promote Kabata swimwear and go to destinations where I can surf, which is also reinforcing the narrative of Black people surfing, which can promote a Great Day in the Stoke. So it's all like they're all tracking close to each other. But another
Mhm.
thing is just having a great team. With my TV show, I have my production partner, Nichelle Protho, who is like a genius. And so having her on the team, like, takes all my stress away when it comes to the TV production. And then with
Yeah.
Kabata, I have a great partner with my friend Natasha, and then my sales guy Alan. And then with the Great Day in the Stoke, I have a great team of Charity lives in Bangor, and my guy Ty, and my guy Brandon. So I have like a lot of support and help with a great day in Stoke. And then I have a great mentor slash business partner who like overall is like, just brilliant and becoming and generating wealth. So I have
Yeah.
a great team of people that I lean on when I definitely don't have all the answers and I need support. And so right now it's just really just hiring the right people and then putting the team first and taking care of
Mm.
them. And then that's what's has helped out a lot is that I haven't done this all by myself. Is that I have like
Yeah.
a supporting cast who is smarter than me in a lot of areas that helps me succeed.
Yeah. And hearing loud and clear in that delegating, because a lot of entrepreneurs want to do everything themselves, and you're not letting yourself scale if you do that. So, love that example, Nate. I want to end, Nate, on this question for you. You have lived in so many places and you obviously travel so much. What is home to you?
Oh well, I live in the world. I live in the world. I
I
just
love
vacation
it.
in LA.
I love it. Okay. No, but so you feel at home everywhere you travel?
Yeah, yeah. I'm at heart. I'm a nomad, but
Hmm.
because it's like I love being away from home. But when I do come back to LA, I definitely enjoy like being in LA. Having time to carving out time to sit on my sofa and whether it be to sit there or catch up on all the shows that people are raving about on social media, or just being able to go surfing at my local surf break, or just see my cousins that live in LA. So LA is always going to be like, as far as like a traditional home for me. But anywhere I
Yeah.
go, I feel at home. I'm in Miami right now at my friend's place, and catching up with him. So he's like a brother, and this is like
Yeah.
home right here. Where I know this is a
Yeah.
place where I'm always welcomed, and I think that's the most important thing is having those spaces and those friends where you're always going to be welcome to come. And then, I extend that same courtesy when people come to LA. If I'm there, if I'm not there or not, it's like, hey, you coming to LA? It's like, well, let me know if I'm there. If I'm not there, you can still stay at my place
Yeah.
and make it convenient, and always make my home a home away from home for others.
What a great note to end on, the people and the community. Nate, I had so much fun getting to catch up with you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank,
Wishing you all the success.
thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like what you hear, leave a review and share.